With rising food prices, tensions in both the East and West, as well as the decline of the price of oil and the devaluation of the ruble, the Russian economy has plenty of battles ahead. But despite all of this, the International Monetary Fund is still predicting modest growth this year. Well, to discuss Russia's economy and its role in OPEC as well, and of course the ongoing effect of sanctions, I'm joined by Lilit Gevorgyan, the Russia and CIS Senior Economist at IHS Markit. Hello to you, Lilit. Thank you very much indeed for your time today. So what I want to know is, if the price of oil continues to decline, where does this leave the Russian economy?
Well, the Russian economy, as probably everyone knows by now, is very, very vulnerable to any crude oil price fluctuations. And we've already seen that the country was in recession in the past 2 years and is just crawling out of that recession. Having said that, when the Russian authorities set their budget for the next 3 years in 2016, they factored in that the crude oil price will average at $40 per barrel. So they had relatively conservative outlook on oil price recovery back in 2016. For them to go through this protracted period of low oil price means that they have to tapping into the reserves, hard currency reserves, and what is not helping is the lingering sanctions, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I wanted to ask as well, is now the time for Russia to actually join OPEC?
This issue has been discussed for many years, in fact. There have been also suggestions recently that perhaps it's not just the oil production that Russia has to look at when cooperating, but also perhaps forming a sort of a gas OPEC too. But so far the Russian authorities have indicated that they want to have ad hoc cooperation. I suppose Russians are thinking that their independence is quite important, especially when the economy is still so dependent on the energy sector.
Lilit, you mentioned sanctions. Let's go back to that just now, because Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, he was speaking recently and he actually said that the sanctions have strengthened the economy of Russia. Is that really the case?
No, that's not the case. The problem with the sanctions, for those countries that adopt sanctions, in this case the Western countries, the immediate impact that they want to see on Russia's foreign policy, that's probably not going to happen. And we've seen that it didn't really alter Russia's behavior that much. But then on the receiving end for Russia, the sanctions did play a role. Short term, it triggered quite significant inflationary pressures, as we've seen, which was also, again, coupled by the weakening of the ruble as a result of the fall in crude oil prices. But the worst of the sanctions cannot be really quantified precisely, because it is about the undermining of the investor confidence. It is about the missed business opportunities, the missed opportunity of modernizing Russian economy with the help of the Western capital and know-how. As I said, it's a combination of both the short-term impact that the Russian consumers have seen, and also Russian business people who have been borrowing extensively from Western lenders, and the long-term impact, which cannot be really quantified, is that the missed business opportunities, the areas that Russia would like to develop, non-oil sector, that at the moment they are struggling. So I don't agree that the sanctions haven't hurt. Russia has chosen the path of import substitution, and we have yet to see whether this is a viable strategy for this country.
Why does Vladimir Putin remain extremely popular?
The opposition has been effectively defunct, and not least thanks to Putin's efforts. So in an environment when you don't have opposition voices, when you don't have a realistic choice to change the government, people tend to go for status quo, and they tend to go for a strong leader.
Lilit Gevorgyan, thank you very much indeed for your time today and your expertise in this particular region of the world. Thank you.